Hi guys, kami ang Team 7 at kasama ko dito si Cantara, Dador, Madrigalios, Mendoza, Tena at Vallejo at i-discuss namin ang components of a pneumatic system. Air generation and distribution. The compressed air is supplied for a pneumatic system be adequately calculated and made available in the appropriate quality. Dito, kinocompute yung kung gaano kadaming air yung kailangan at kung good quality ba yung air. Air is compressed by the air compressor and delivered to an air distribution system in the factory. Ganon dinidistribute ang air sa isang system. Number of aspects must be considered in the preparation of service air. Quantity of air required to meet the demands of the system, type of compressor to be used to produce the quantity required, pressure requirements, storage required, requirements for air cleanliness, acceptable humidity levels to reduce corrosion and sticky operation, lubrication requirements, if necessary, temporary of the temperature of the air and effects on the system. Line sizes and bulbs to meet demand, material selection to meet environment and system requirements, drainage points and exhaust outlets in the distribution system, layout of distribution system to meet the demand. Dito, nababawasan yung malfunction ng air sa system natin. As a rule, pneumatic components are designed for a maximum operating pressure of 800 to 1,000 kilopascal. But in practice, it is recommended to operate at between 500 to 600 kilopascal for economic use. Due to the pressure losses in the distribution system, the compressor should deliver between 650 to 700 kilopascal. The pipe diameter of the air distribution system should be selected in such a way at sineselect ang diameter ng pipe based sa flow rate, line length, permissible pressure loss, operating pressure, and number of flow control in the line.
Air distribution system consists of compressor, reservoir, drain cock, intermediate reservoir for several consuming devices, condensate collector tank. So we have here service unit as well as the consuming devices. The air leaving a compressor is hot, dirty, and wet, which can damage and shorten the life of downstream equipment such as valves and cylinders. So, bago natin gamitin yung air, it needs to be filtered, regulated, and lubricated. So we have three types of air preparation system. Compressed air filter with water separator, compressed air regulator, and compressed air lubricator. So makikita natin dito yung yung service unit. So we have the filter, we have the pressure regulator relieving type, pressure gauge, at saka may lubricator. So ayan yung picture nung pagkakabuo ng ating air service unit. Compressed air filter. The compressed air filter has the job of removing all contaminants for the compressed air flowing through it as well as water which already condensed. Ibig sabihin, the compressed air filter is mainly used in removing impurities available in air. So I added, we have three types of filter. General purpose, coalescing filter, vapor removal filter. General purpose used to remove water and particles. Coalescing filter used to remove oil. Vapor removal filter used to remove oil vapor and odor. So yung air, papasok siya dun sa filter which ang mangyayari doon is yung air na galing dun sa compressor, if i-filtrate niya, tapos yung water doon, yun yung kanyang i-drain. Kumbaga, yung air na galing sa compressor ay hindi malinis, kumbaga madumi. Kailangan natin i-filter. So pag na-filter na siya, aakit yung new air na malinis at pupunta siya sa compressed air regulator. So, ang purpose ng regulator is to keep operating pressure of the system virtually constant regardless of fluctuation in the line pressure and the air consumption. Ibig sabihin, it is used to minimize the pressure in the pipeline. So, may mga parts ang regulator. Meron tayong main spring, meron siyang valve, may diaphragm, tsaka may spring adjusting screw. Kung babalikan natin yung laboratoryong ating ginawa, so gumamit tayo dun ng compressed air filter, compressed air regulator, compressed air lubricator. Yung compressed air regulator, siya naman yung nagre-regulate ng hangin na galing dun sa na-filter na. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan is balance lang yung air na ilalabas ng regulator. Kailangan na regulated siya bago niya ilabas papunta ng lubricator. So, may adjusting tayo, may spring adjusting screw tayo na ginagamit para ma-maintain at saka ma-regulate yung air. So, pagkatapos nun, pupunta na siya sa lubricator. Ang purpose naman ng lubricator is to deliver a metered quantity of oil means into a leg of the air contribution system and necessary for the operation of the pneumatic. Ibig sabihin, a lubricator adds controlled quantities of oil into a compressed air system to reduce the friction of moving components. So, bago mag-operate ang system, kailangan natin ng yung 3 types na yon. Yung FRL, which includes filter, regulator, and lubricator. Kasi hindi gagana ang ating system pag hindi siya na-process. That's all.
Valves. The function of valves is to pressure or flow rate of pressure media. So this can be divided into the following categories: directional control valves, non-return valves, flow control valves, pressure control valves, shut-off valves. So yung valve, mag-start tayo sa directional control valve. The directional control valve, passage of air signals by generating, cancelling, or directing signals. The valve is described by a number of ports or openings like two ways, three ways, or etc. And a number of its positions like 2 positions, 3 positions, and etc. In methods of actuation naman, ito ay pwede siyang manually actuated, mechanically actuated, pneumatically actuated, and electrically actuated. In methods of return actuation naman, pwede siyang spring return and air return. So, mag-start tayo sa element ng directional control valve, which is signaling element. The directional valve is operated, for example, by a roller lever to detect the piston rod position of a cylinder. Ito yung 3-way roller lever valve without and with idle return. So, kung makita nyo yung upper part niya, meron siyang bilog doon. Then, ayun yung tinatamaan ng piston rod para bumaba ng konti at saka siya mag-function. Then, siya ay spring return din. So, sa processing element naman tayo, the directional control valve redirects or cancel signals depending on the signal input received. So, ito yung 3-way air-actuated valve, single pilot valve with spring return. So, depende lang to kung ano yung i-input nyo. Pwede siyang mag-redirect or pwede siyang mag-cancel ng signal. So, dito naman tayo sa control element. The directional control valve must deliver the required quantity of air to match the power component requirements. So, ito yung 5-way valve for cylinder control, double pilot valve. So, dito kinoconnect yung mga power components. So, siya din yung nagde-deliver ng required quantity of air para gumana yung mga power components. Yung mga power components ay yung mga single acting cylinder at saka double acting cylinder. Non-return valves. The non-return valve allows a signal to flow through the device in one direction, in other direction blocks the flow. So ito yung non-return valves and its derivatives, check valve, shuttle valve, dual pressure valve, quick exhaust valve. So kung makikita nyo yung shuttle valve, meron siyang bilog. So yung shuttle valve ay merong dalawang input at isang output. So yung bilog, gagalaw lang siya kapag halimbawa nag-input ka sa right side input, yung bilog pupunta siya sa left side input at mabablock yun. Tapos pag nag-input ka naman sa left side, so yung bilog pupunta sa right side at mabablock yung right side input. Flow control valves. The flow control valve restricts or throttles the air in particular direction to reduce the flow rate of the air and hence control the signal flow. So, sa flow control valve, para itong gripo ng tubig. So, dito mo kukontrolin yung flow rate ng air depende sa requirements ng application.
Pressure control valves. Pressure control valves are utilized in pneumatic system. Pressure control valves are used in hydraulic systems to control actuator force and to determine and select pressure levels at which certain machine operations must occur. There are three main groups: pressure limiting valves, pressure regulating valves, pressure sequence valves. Ito yung pressure sequence valves. Pressure limiting valves are utilized on the upstream side of the compressor to ensure the receiver pressure is limited for safety and that the supply pressure to the system is set to the correct pressure. The pressure regulating valve keeps the pressure constant irrespective of any pressure fluctuations in the system. The valve regulates the pressure via built-in diaphragm. The pressure sequence valve is used if a pressure-dependent signal is required for the advancing of a control system. When the applied control signal reaches the set pressure, the three two-way valve incorporated at their point is actuated. Conversely, the valve reverses if the control signal fails below the set pressure. Combination valves. The combined functions of various elements can produce a new function. An example is the time delay valve, which is the combination of a one-way flow control valve, a reservoir, and a two-way directional control valve. Other combinational valves include two-hand start unit, pulse generator, stepper modules, memory modules. Time delay valve. Time delay valve is used to delay the output signal. It is actuated by a pneumatic signal through the tank after a preset time delay has elapsed. The return to normal position by a return spring when the signal is terminated.
Processing elements or processors. To support the directional control valves at the processing level, there are various elements which condition the control signals for a task. The elements are first, dual pressure valve or unfunction. Second one is shuttle valve or function. Shuttle valve. It's like a tube when three openings, one on each end and one on the middle. A ball or a blocking value element moves freely with the tube. When pressure from a fluid is exerted through an opening on one end, it pushes the ball towards the opposite end. Modular processing unit or stepper module is switched through and function when signal is applied to the both inputs are 1. If different pressures are applied to the two inputs, then the lower pressure reaches output 2. Power components. The power section consists of control elements and power components or actuators. The actuator group includes various types of linear and rotary actuators of varying size and construction. Actuator with control element. Actuator can move something in a straight line, also referred to linear, and actuator can something move in a circular motion, referred to rotary. Actuator is also requires a control signal and a source of energy. Actuation can be further broken into groups. First, linear actuators consist single acting cylinder, double acting cylinder. And rotary actuators consist air motor and rotary actuators. Linear actuator contains single acting cylinder, which is reciprocating engine is a cylinder in which working fluids acts on one side of piston only, while double acting cylinder used where external force is not available to retract the piston, or it can used when high force is required in both direction. Rotary actuators contain air motors and rotary actuators. Output device for a fluid power system delivers an oscillating motion over a limited range of less than one full revolution of a circle. Actuators, linear and rotary.
Generally, the actuation of a cylinder is affected by a directional control valve. The choice of such a directional control valve, number of connections, number of switching position, type of actuation, is a dependent on the respective application. Control circuit for the single acting cylinder. The circuit includes the following primary features: single acting cylinder, spring return, 3 two-way directional control valve, push button for operation, and spring for return force. Supply air source connected to the 3 two-way valve. Air connection between valve and cylinder. These are the diagram that shows for control for single acting cylinder. At kung makikita po natin dito ay doon po sa left na ating nakikita po natin dito yung ating 3 two-way valve na mayroon siyang supply port at exhaust. At dito po natin makikita sa diagram na to na naka-at-rest pa po siya. Then, pag po pinindot natin yung push button ay dadaloy na po yung ating supply ng hangin. At yung pong hangin na yun ay mapupuno po yung ating single acting cylinder at oo na siya. Initial position. The initial position left-hand circuit is defined as the rest position of the system. Push button operation. Pressing the push button moves the 3 two-way valves against the return spring. Push button release. As soon as push button is released, the valve return spring returns the valve to its position and cylinder rod reacts. So, yun na nga po. Katulad nung ating naipaliwanag kanina, ganun din po yung nangyari. Pinaliwanag po ulit dito.
Control circuit for the double acting cylinder. The piston rod of a double acting cylinder is to advance when a push button is operated and to return to the initial position when the push button is released. Yun nga po, pag nai-release na yung push button, babalik din siya sa initial position niya after it's operating. The circuit includes double acting cylinder, 5 two-way direction control valve, push button for operation, and spring for return force. Supplier source connected to the 5 two-way valve, air connection between valve and cylinder. This is the diagram of control of a double acting cylinder. Makikita nyo naman po sa diagram kung paano siya nag-release. Initial position. In the initial position, left-hand circuit of all connection are made and there is no manual invention by the operator. Push button operation. Pressing the push button operates the 5 two-way valve against the way valve return spring. Push button release. Once of the push button is released, the valve returns spring. Push the valve into initial position. Di yun nga, magbabalik-balik lang sa mga initial position niya after it operate.